To learn knowledge is to learn about what something is through the experience of what it is not. If we want to learn about what love is, we would also need to learn about what love is not. Knowledge is knowing and therefore experiencing through duality and through opposites. We actually have severely devalued the true meaning of knowledge to the point where we're completely disconnected with what knowledge really means. Knowledge has a very intimate relationship with the ego. And what that intimate relationship is that we came into an ego and into an experience of separation that can only be played out through having an ego so that we can have our own personal, unique, intimate, and direct experience with something. In this case, that something would be reality. Many times we view the ego as in opposition to our spiritual evolution and in opposition to our spiritual awakening journey. However, it is through the ego that we are able to experience a spiritual awakening. And what I mean by that is the ego is directly linked with incurring and acquiring knowledge. Knowledge is not facts, as facts can even change. Knowledge is the act of awakening from our spiritual amnesia. Knowledge is both an action and a process. It is the process of knowing something through the direct experience of it and its opposite. Whenever you are in the process of learning something at a soul level that will wake up your soul from spiritual amnesia, you are learning knowledge. Knowledge also has a distinct feature to it. This distinct feature is opposites. Knowledge is both the action of awakening and the process of learning about something through its opposites. To learn knowledge is to learn about what something is through the experience of what it is not. For instance, if we want to learn about what love is, we would also need to learn about what love is not. This is why the tree of knowledge was called the tree of good and evil. It's because knowledge is knowing and therefore experiencing through duality and through opposites. So usually we think of knowledge as being like data-oriented and information-based. And I would even go as far as to say that in this age, we actually have severely devalued the true meaning of knowledge to the point where we're completely disconnected with what knowledge really means. And we're sheerly in almost adolescent phase of having contempt for knowledge because we view it as not coming from within, or we view it as coming off as even like performative or too external. However, knowledge has a very intimate relationship with the ego. And what that intimate relationship is that we came into an ego and into an experience of separation that can only be played out through having an ego, so that we can have our own personal, unique, intimate, and direct experience with something. In this case, that something would be reality. It would be all the different things that we experience inside this reality, such as having connections with other people and having connections with specific things that we're interested in and learning. So actually, knowledge is not even just about data or information. And so what knowledge is the vessel that we acquire intimacy through. That's why you know something. Knowledge is how you know something. This is also where the term know thyself derives. Spiritual sovereignty doesn't mean you cut yourself off from receiving resources, assistance, or guidance externally. Spiritual sovereignty is about having resources lead you to the discernment you will need to be able to navigate and evolve through a reality of opposites and of duality. So, knowledge is the action and process of an awakening from our spiritual amnesia through knowing good and evil and experiencing those opposites. This is what eating the apple from the tree of knowledge really means. Knowledge is sacred because it means that you are acquiring something valuable for awakening out of spiritual amnesia. The reason knowledge is held in contempt in this age is because we have lost connection to the sacred purpose of knowledge. Consciousness has matured into knowing and into knowledge, when it has intimately gone through its body, mind, spirit experience. If programming is what keeps a person asleep, then knowledge is the soul level discernment, process, and truths that will wake a person up. So you see how knowing thyself can only be done through knowledge of something? And instead of knowledge being viewed at through either contempt or just a lack of reverence, we're not really connecting fully with what knowledge truly means. Because the ego is here to learn by having direct experience of something, aka deriving knowledge. When somebody has knowledge of something, that's the opposite of shallow. That's actually having gone through an experience, connected with something so directly, so intimately, so all the way around that you know the ins and outs of something, that now you know it. So now you have knowledge of something. And so even if we're first experiencing knowledge through something very external like books, what's wrong with that? That's like judging something that is highly beneficial and a part of somebody's journey, even if that's not either the beginning point of their journey or the end of their journey. But either way, when we're looking at something that's not coming from fully and absolutely from within us in a large lens of judgment, that's actually blocking something from developing and growing into knowledge. And so knowledge comes in all shapes and sizes. It comes in all varieties. It's not just one thing. But what's the most important thing to really emphasize here is that even though it's more than one thing, it could be information-based, but that's not its main and dominant home. Its main and dominant home is in the spiritual experience of direct knowing, direct connection, direct intimacy with something. And that is only done through being able to mature through a journey. And that maturation that's happening through a spiritual awakening journey is through the ego. I hope this has helped you know knowledge better. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for higher dimensional guidance through spiritual awakening. See you next time.